building it up, and this year we really want to, you make this a good event for, not just Woodstock for Saugerties, but also the village of Phoenicia. And I can assure you that, it's been certainly made a safe event. Like I said, we've talked to, and worked with, the fire companies from Saugerties, Woodstock, and, and the chief, he's working with the Shandaken, fire companies. And, it's a team effort, it really is. The DEP police is on board with us, the state police is on board, the sheriff's department, but we ourselves couldn't do it alone, as Woodstock Police Department is. So it took a lot of mind, to pull us, together, and it's a very safe event, and my first thought when Martin suggested it to me, I didn't think we could pull it off, but when really, when we talked about it, we put a lot of hours into it, and we looked at the roads, we drove the course many times over, we reduced the real risky turns, and just like we did I met with the chief down in the nation, me and Martin, and we certainly we want to have it a good safe event, and if you'll honor us to bring this race up through Phoenicia, it'll certainly be a great event for your town.
Martin's obviously not giving himself enough credit, because this guy has more energy and more enthusiasm about this sporting event than I've seen any other sporting events that I've been to, hockey, football, anything. So if it's going to be a success, Martin's going to make it a success. Whether it's the emails at 2 o'clock in the morning I'm getting, whether text messages at 7:30 on a Sunday morning. Right, Martin?
Yes.
So
I'm happy to know that he skis and the kids get up early. So
yes.
I would say that.
So what I will say about the event coming into Phoenicia is, one, we met like at 6 o'clock tonight just to go over it. And at first, like Martin said, he wanted to come in by the Phoenician, up 28, across the bridge, down into the Phoenician, and he wanted to have the sprint right in the center of town. Which is one of the things I said to Martin. My concern was that I'm not going to be able to shut down Main Street to parking on a busy spring day when everybody's got cabin fever and they want to get out. So Martin took a different look at it. So now we decided to come in Bridge Street and make that turn at Bridge and Main, and then have the sprint from the funeral down towards the church. And that's where we're going to have the archway, so to speak. He's got enough room. He'll be able to get his equipment into the parking lot there. And so we addressed all his concerns, and I think it's certainly a benefit to us to have this event come to our town at this point. And like I said, this guy, like no other, had the energy and the commitment to make this thing a huge success. So over the last 3 years, I've never been involved with it to the level that I'm involved with it now, on both the county and the town level. But I was involved with it the last couple of years just on the traffic post. And I've seen over the years the number of participants has grown double, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a great event, and this guy here, he's going to make it a success. So thanks.
One question, Chip.
Sure.
The race starts at 9:10 in the morning, right? Woodstock. What time will they approximately, I guess, how long will they be coming through Main Street?
10:45, 11ish.
Yeah, we're looking at about 10:45. Again, weather may have a factor, but they did, excluding the addition of your community, the Phoenicia to the race last year, they did it in 2:48, and they still did both climbs. That was the winning time.
What
So
would the duration be? Estimation of the
I'd say the main group of people is probably like a 15-minute time frame, and then stragglers from there, like maybe up to an hour later.
what we did, everyone, I'll just add one quick note, I know you have other things to talk about, but we created the race with the elite riders in mind. That's why they have the secondary race, which is shorter and more of a developmental kind of minded race. This way, if you're going to enter it, you're entering it knowing that 60 miles in the Catskills is going to be a memorable experience, but not so that you're drifting off the back and going to be like 3 hours later that we're waiting for you. It's just, that way, no. I mean, I think by
So
the month.
pretty much an hour, say from 11 o'clock till noon time on that day?
Oh, yeah, or if that minute, yeah. I mean, it could even be as little as 46, 45 minutes. But it'll be stragglers, and what we make very clear to the riders is that, as with any rider who shares our roads, once you're out of contention for prizes, you're still supported by law enforcement, fire, police, what have you, but you have to ride the race as if you're on a training ride. Stay to the right, and in the event that you come to an intersection, they'll still be as if it was a bike race. They'll be covered. But they can't just assume anything if they're not with the support that comes with the main group. Because the main group has a chief referee, has a neutral support car, police escorts, motorcycles. It's really, actually, it's really quite beautiful to see. And we try to keep it, by the way, the carbon footprint really quite small.
Martin, how many riders did you have last?
We had 94 entered, but 87 rode. So the race is overseen by the USA Cycling in Colorado Springs, and they send the officials. We have 5 or 6 officials. Some of the head officials in Colorado Springs got wind of the race, and the letters I got from them, I actually, I sort of cry over this race at times because it's pretty emotional. When they say what we did in 2 years for an only women's event was amazing. To have almost 100 athletes in the second year. Now that said, interesting enough, we're limited by how many riders can participate. There are only under 115 riders can ride the Pro-Am and only 75 in the second. So this is never going to be, and I mean, I'm not a runner, but I know running races sometimes can have 300, 400, 500 athletes. This is always going to be a very small number, and that's just the nature of the sport. But again, also thank you for having us. This is great.
Hey, Martin. Last year, I met you on the last
Absolutely, which is
That
great.
was a week early.
Yep.
Before the race, you were giving out pamphlets
Yep.
to let people know there was a race
Yep.
coming through. Are we going to do that this year to let people know
Oh, yeah.
there's going to be a race a week later? Okay.
Yeah, Robin Kirk, one of your colleagues and friends, has offered to sit the flyer out. I'm a guest. The chiefs are going to come with me to the Phoenician Business Association. They'll be meeting on the 16th. They've asked me to come. Again, credit to Chad to sort of look at the race in the biggest pictures and give me a little praise, but it is a group effort. But when it comes down to some parts of it are just, there's no one else going to do it. I hand deliver most of the letters to the residents on the course, go from house to house and send an invitation. And in your case, I just got frustrated. I said, okay, I got to stop. And I from going to driveway to driveway, and at that point I flagged you down, I shared it with you, and you were so embracing of it, which was great. So yeah, we let as many people know. We try to work as much with, and I made that comment to Joyce, who now has a great reputation for being the social media maven for Shandaken, but trying to do that as much as possible to social media, and Daily Freeman's aware of it, Woodstock Times, and again, we're very much a fledgling operation. Robert will know that when we first met 3 years ago, that we didn't know where it was going to go, and to be invited into Woodstock, I mean, in all humility, for a town to say you can use their name in a title of an event is pretty great. And Woodstock is somewhat of a well-known name, but Phoenicia was really important. And Clayton just said, we'll figure it out. And sure enough, State Police and Clayton and Chad, they figured it out, and we're coming to town, and hopefully it's not going to scare you off.
Right. Do you have a website?
Yes, yeah.
Is it just www.cgp.com?
The website, I think, goes www.cgp. Weebly. Joyce, I can send it to you. The
Email
link.
me, yeah.
Yeah, I'll send. Yeah, there's a website, the Facebook page. I proudly, sort of in a presumptuous way, put on it this afternoon that and I'd already hinted to the riders we were coming to Phoenicia, but I added it and I just took your website and put it to the posting. So we're going to highlight it all to the degree that you may laugh as I say this. We had spectators, and I asked the chief how many came last year, and I was a bit preoccupied, so I didn't really see the finish of our own race last year. It's very likely that Phoenicia could have 300, 400, 500 people watching this because they're there already and they're interested. Because you'll be an active community, not like where we're finishing our race. We're on the offshoot of Woodstock, Rock City Road. We're coming right to town. I mean, we're really coming to Phoenicia, and I think as I sit here and discuss it further with you, it was really great that Chad and Clayton just said, you know what, let's just focus on it being less intrusive on your community, hence coming Bridge Street, taking that right turn, and the ladies do their thing.
Martin, thank you very much again. It's been wonderful. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Emails.
Yeah, sorry about that. I know, I wanted to comment, last comment I'll make is that Captain Altieri, Chad's boss, actually started getting a barrage of texts Sunday morning before he was pleasantly answered, but then he had to say, I'm going to church now. So I just have to remember my manners. But we also are 2 months away, so there's a little bit of pressure that I do feel, and I think having you have us here, or having me, but having the guys with me is really great. And we would have definitely been here had it not been for the last snowstorm.
Thank you again. Of course, we're fully supportive of the event as we have in the past. And show a lot of resolution and such.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Moving on, we have committee reports. Ambulance.
Good evening. For you that don't know me, my name is Brendan Whalen. I am the paramedic captain and training officer for town of Shandaken. I have February 2015 report. Total calls received was 50. Mutual aid given was 1 to the town of Olive. Mutual aid received was 3, 2 multiple calls in district, plus 1 specialty unit for mobile life support. Just to reiterate what Supervisor Stanley said, unless you've been living under a rock, you're very well aware of how busy our dedicated emergency service personnel have been during the past month. Having handled multiple dwelling fires, a commercial structure fire, and assisting with water supply emergencies throughout the town. On top of handling their usual call volume, the job of a part-time or volunteer emergency responder has similarly become a full-time job for some. A very special thanks goes out to the American Legion Post 950, Margaret at the Phoenicia Delicatessen, and the Big Indian Fire Department Ladies Auxiliary, who took the time to provide our responders with hot coffee and a warm place to stay during the fires. All of which occurred in one of the coldest weeks of the year thus far. Unfortunately, we still have many cold days ahead, so please exercise caution during the balance of the heating season and be mindful of proper use of auxiliary heating appliances. The fact that there is no less loss of life or major injuries to civilians or responders alike throughout these calls for service is a true testament to the level of professionals that we have serving our town, and we are very truly fortunate for their dedication and service. Also, I'd like to put out a special bit of gratitude to Tom Crochet, who assisted the town ambulance along with the water district with the dispersal of water for the town residents.
Thank you, Brian. Police.
So we handled 125 calls this month, 76 summons were issued, and 11 arrests total. I had a conversation with the supervisor earlier in the week about our car situation. We had 2 cars go down this weekend. We just picked one up from Rhinebeck Ford today, so that's back. But it's something we got to start thinking about is replacing one of our cars in the very near future.
One was due for
One's due, yeah. It's way above the mileage per the contractual
The other one
agreements. Right. And the other one was just it's been tough. 4-wheel drive, we needed it, and they were using it. And it was actually an issue with the 4-wheel drive. It was hard to take it to Rhinebeck Ford. Glenn was too busy. He was unable to actually take care of those repairs himself. So under his suggestion, that's where we took it over there. And we just picked it up today, so that's back in service. But I got some quotes, state big quotes on cars. They actually sent me 2 quotes that were really high, but they have a lot of equipment in them that we're not going to need because we're just going to take equipment out of the old car and put it in the new car. Computers, mounts, lights, etc. So we'll get that to you this week at some point. Okay.
Jed? Yes. Question. I touched base with you last week on the police report. I think it's kind of a abbreviated brief report, and we're kind of used to what we did for the last 7 years or so on the different calls we've had and everything. And spoken to probably the majority of the town board here, and they do agree with me that we should have a report that we used to have. If you could do that for us, I sure appreciate it.
I could.
Can you?
I can talk it up a little. Sure.
All right. Thank you much.
Maybe not as detailed as the first one, but we'll just...
Commissioner Warren, Alfred.
So Rob gave everyone all the bad news. I guess the good news is we've been doing the survey. I want to thank all the people out there who have really, really cooperated on some very cold nights. We're going to be out again next Monday and Tuesday, trying to complete the survey so we can put the grant application in. So I really have to thank Candace Farmer. She's been doing a great job. People just welcome us into their house. She does a survey, I wait outside, and then we go to the next one. So it's been great. It's been a really good experience.
The response is good out there overall?
Yeah, I think we've done already, I would say, over 40, and we've only had 1 or 2 refusals. Everybody else, people have been great. I mean, it really amazes me. So
It's great.
it's been a good experience. Next meeting, the 18th.
One question now.
Yeah.
Reading over the vouchers and things with on the excavation concerning the road up to the reservoir. Could you give us a brief rundown on what that is or what that entails?
They're attempting to have the ability to go all the way up to service the reservoirs along the way, all the springs. And there have been issues with DEC as far as what they were willing to let us do. I'm not really sure where Ken is at on it at the moment. He certainly hasn't been working over the winter a whole lot, but presumably he's going to, resume work in the spring. But it's a tough process up there. It's tough terrain. There's a lot of brush and
I got vouchers on it that I signed. And you said one for locating West Spring. I was just curious to know what the activity was going on there.
I can't tell you exactly without either looking at the voucher and speaking to him.
All right.
Rick can give you a better answer, but I can't. Thank you.
Thank you.
On water, as I said, Donnie, just again, same as Misha, we ask that if you think you've got or had problems in the past with waterline freeze-ups, run a faucet full bore. Probably the best solution. Museum, don't see anyone, and recreation. Nothing to report at this time.
Just
The minutes.
just a minute.
So at that, we'll go with public comments and resolutions. If there's no comments, then we'll move on to resolutions. I'm sorry, before we do that, we have one motion. I entertain a motion to accept Mike Ennis' resignation effective February 6th, 2015.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now we'll go on. Sorry.
Resolution number 59-15, resolution to pay all bills. Whereas the Department of Audit and Control required town boards to sign and inspect all vouchers coming into the town for payment, the number and total amounts from each fund. Therefore, be it resolved that the town board authorize the following vouchers paid. General, $27,530.73. Highway, $48,628.52. Phoenicia Water, $9,274.24. Pine Hill Water, $656.20. Phoenicia Lights, $1,152.52. Chichester Lights, $154.58. Pine Hill Lights, $638.38 for a total of $88,035.17, and move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Bernstein?
Yes.
Board Member Hickman?
Yes.
Board Member Moore?
Yes.
Board Member Moore?
Yes.
Supervisor Daniels?
Yes.
Resolution 6015, advertising for gravel crushing. Whereas the town of Shandaken Highway Department is seeking bids for crushing of item 4 at the town-owned gravel bank. Specifications are available at the Highway Superintendent's Office, 7209 Route 28, Shandaken, New York, or by calling 845-688-5031. Therefore be resolved that bids be received at the town clerk's office, Shandaken Town Hall, 7209 Route 28, P.O. Box 67, Shandaken, New York, 12480, no later than 3 p.m. on Monday, April 6, 2015, to be open at the regular town board meeting scheduled for 7 p.m. that evening, and I move its adoption.
Second?
Board Member Bernstein?
Yes.
Board Member Higley?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Yes.
Board Member Storm?
Yes.
Supervisor Sanders?
Yes. Resolution 6115, Parkinson's Awareness Month proclamation. Whereas Parkinson's disease is a progressive neurological movement disorder of the central nervous system, which has a unique impact on each patient. And whereas according to the Parkinson's Action Network, the Parkinson's Disease Foundation, the American Parkinson's Disease Association, and the National Institutes of Health, there are over 1 million Americans diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And whereas symptoms include slowness, tremor, difficulty with balance and speaking, rigidity, cognitive and memory problems, and whereas although new medicines and therapies may enhance life for some time for people with Parkinson's, more work is needed for a cure. And whereas increased education and research are needed to help find more effective treatments with fewer side effects and ultimately a cure for Parkinson's disease. And whereas a multidisciplinary approach to Parkinson's disease care includes local wellness, support, and caregiver groups. And whereas April has been proclaimed as Worldwide Parkinson's Awareness Month for all to recognize the need for more research and help in dealing with the devastating effects of Parkinson's disease. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Shandaken Town Board does hereby proclaim April 2015 as Parkinson's Awareness Month in the Town of Shandaken and move its adoption.
I'll second that.
Board Member Bernstein?
Yes.
Board Member Higley?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Yes.
Board Member Storm?
Yes.
Supervisor Sanders?
Yes. Open public comment. Oh, you threw me, Chuck. I was waiting for the guy in the middle. Go ahead.
Not speaking in any official capacity, but I do want to thank the board for the acknowledgement of the fire service volunteers that have performed their duties with a little bit of help from, again, professionals. But the fact of the matter is, it is a community organization, and we are really at the point of critical, dire circumstances with regards to the volunteer fire service. It does not come easy when, I mean, I've been a volunteer for 35 years. When I first joined, the average age was probably 35 years old. It's over 50 years old now. As the people are getting older, again, we're not as capable as we once were. And the youth don't seem to have the interest that was once abundant. There's a lot of factors that go into that, not the least of which is training. But what I would like to do is extend an open invitation to anybody in the community that would like to come down and join the service, because there's always a job for somebody, regardless of their ability or knowledge. Again, you thank the Ladies Auxiliary. That term, I think, ought to go by the wayside with a lot of the other politically correct nomenclatures. The auxiliary could provide coffee, which is in need, you know, to help the guys that are out there working. There's a need for somebody to maybe man a radio, which, again, it doesn't take a whole lot of experience, but a little bit of training. Again, there is a job for everybody, and if we could fill these small jobs with people that were willing, it would free up maybe some able-bodied people to go do the grunt work. But again, it does not come easy. But the bottom line is, I appreciate the fact that the acknowledgement from the town board and the rest of the community at large. That's the big pat on the back that we get, and again, it is appreciated. Thank you.
I just want to say that the Woodstock Women's Cycling event has been a wonderful event for Woodstock. I'm really excited with the idea of this Phoenicia Sprint. I hope that it will introduce a lot of people to the excitement of the cycling races, and I think it'll be great. So I really appreciate people making an effort to do it in a way that the businesses will be benefited by the race, with people coming in and maybe having breakfast before or lunch after, and really get to see some top quality cyclists racing out here in the beautiful Catskills. Really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Any other comments? adjourn the meeting. We'd like to adjourn this month's meeting in memory of Mary Persons, Marie Post, Alfred Knopf, and Eric Vanderkar. Motion to adjourn. So moved. Second, all in favor? Keep your water running.
Don't go poking the
Then he said,
See you, man.
I'll send it to
Take care. Good, good. Take care of yourself. I will. I'm retired.
Right, well, that's good. Trying to cut out guys the same. This is my business card.
I don't really like it.
Being nasty, talking back. That's it.
A liar.
Stop in about making wages. Thank you.